Where Wind Paints Water, Loch Corrib, County Galway, Ireland. Aerial filming today is more than observation. It is aero painting. The drone becomes a brush, the wind becomes texture, and water becomes canvas. Listen to a legend locals like to call "Why the Wind Never Apologizes at Corrib." Locals say the wind over Loch Corrib has a personality. Not a bad one, just an honest Irish one. Long ago, the wind promised the lake it would visit gently, like a guest knocking politely at the door. But Corrib laughed and said, "If you're coming, come properly." So the wind came strong, brushing the water into waves, bending grasses along the shore, and reminding everyone that this is not a place for stillness, but for character. Since then, the wind never apologizes here. It doesn't explain itself. It simply arrives, moves the water, clears the mind, and leaves when it's ready. And the lake never complains. It just keeps reflecting the sky, no matter how restless the surface becomes. That's Corrib. Even its silence has motion. Aerial filming today is more than observation. It is aero painting. The drone becomes a brush, the wind becomes texture, and water becomes canvas. From above, landscapes stop being places and start becoming artworks. Now listen to another story. A legend about why Corrib loves sunrises more than sunsets. People argue whether Corrib looks better at sunrise or sunset. The lake settled this argument centuries ago. At sunset, Corrib reflects beauty. At sunrise, it creates it. Legend says the lake stores colors overnight. Soft golds, pale oranges, quiet blues, and releases them slowly at dawn, as a gift to anyone awake enough to notice. That's why mornings here feel unearned, almost undeserved. The mountains appear gently, the distant town lights fade, and the water carries light as if it were a path. Corrib doesn't hurry sunrise. It stretches it, lets it breathe. Because beauty, like good stories, should never be rushed. This video was created by Sun Sadie Photo and Video Studio, where landscapes are filmed, not just to be seen, but to be felt. If this place slowed you down even for a moment, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and let Corrib stay with you a little longer.
Before the sun rises fully over Loch Corrib, locals sometimes suggest listening to a quiet story. They say it explains why mornings here feel slower, and why even the trees seem to wait. This is a legend about silence, about light, and about knowing when not to speak. They say the trees along Corrib once argued with the mountains. The trees claimed they saw everything first. The mountains claimed they saw everything forever. The argument lasted years. Wind carried it. Water listened. Finally, the lake intervened. Corrib said, "The mountains will keep the past. The trees will keep the present. And I will keep the light in between." Since then, the trees learned silence. At sunrise, they don't compete with color. They don't interrupt reflection. They simply stand still, allowing the lake and sky to speak first. That's why their silhouettes feel deliberate, why they frame the water instead of claiming it. And that's why, when the sun rises and the path appears again on the water, Even the mountains seem to wait. Because some mornings are not performances. They are agreements between light, land, and anyone patient enough to watch without asking for more. There is another story locals like to tell, usually with a small smile. It's about the path the sun forgets to take back. Locals say that every sunrise over Korrib leaves something behind. Not light. Light always moves on. It leaves a path. A thin golden road on the water, stretching quietly from the lake toward the sky, as if the sun once needed directions and never bothered to erase them. Some believe this path is meant for lost thoughts. Others say it's for memories that don't want to return with the night. Old fishermen used to joke that if you stare at that path long enough, you'll start remembering things that never happened. Conversations you almost had, journeys you nearly took, versions of yourself that chose a different road. The lake doesn't correct you. It allows the illusion. Because Korrib knows something people forget. Not every path is meant to be walked. Some are only meant to be seen,
Felt.
and quietly accepted. That's why the water never rushes here. It holds the light just long enough for you to notice, and then lets it go.
And the last of today's legends is one the sheep know best. On the pastures near the lake, sheep are said to be the true weather forecasters of Korrib. Before the clouds gather, before the wind turns sharp, before rain even thinks about falling, the sheep already know. They lift their heads. They stop chewing. They look toward the hills, as if reading tomorrow's newspaper. Farmers learned long ago not to argue with them. If the sheep move uphill, a storm is coming. If they stay calm, the lake will behave, at least for a while. Legend says the sheep learned this from the lake itself. Korrib whispers to grass, grass whispers to sheep, and sheep whisper nothing at all. They simply move, and Korrib agrees. This video was created by Sun Sadie Photo and Video Studio, where landscapes are filmed, not just to be seen, but to be felt. If this place slowed you down even for a moment, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and let Korrib stay with you a little longer.